Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Ashes Magazine. This is part of the Ludus Magnus Studios magazine for all the different companies, including Black Rose Wars, Nova Aetas, DAI, Ragnar, Blood, Blasphemous, amongst other Nova Aetas Chronicle games, Dungeonology. There's a ton of them. So they release these magazines periodically. Have a bunch of fun little interviews, upcoming things coming out. Plus, I also have some promo content. So we're gonna go over. You're going to kind of go a brief glimpse through the magazine to see what's in there. But the big thing is in the video, we want to look at the promo cards. I own some of the games, so I'll be able to go over a little bit more in depth with them, like Black Rose Wars, Nova Aetas. Other games I don't, so we'll just kind of look at them or read them, see what all the promo cards are, so that way you know what's in each magazine if you want to get them. If you're interested in them, you have to check out LMS, Ludus Magnus Studio. Website. They sell them through their shop, but once they run out, they run out. I don't think they plan on reprinting them, even with the miniatures. If you just want to read the magazines, I believe they are, after a certain time of period, they do become available as PDF files on their website or their web app. So that's one of the reasons why we're not going to run through everything too, just because there's too much. I'd spend an hour looking through all this. Some people just, this isn't a web app reader. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop into the Ashes magazines. Alright, we're going to look at Ashes issue number 8. So we're going to start from Requiem, Nova Aetas Chronicles, Black Rose Wars, and Ludus Magnus Presents The Haunted Lands. So then we go like all the kind of through. We have all our promo stuff like this. We have lots of stuff for the Architect. So there's a character who's made, which is going to look the Chronicles, which is covering all the different games from the company. So that's stuff for Black Rose Wars, Nova Aetas Resist Renaissance, as well as a little bit of stuff for Requiem. So it's going to cover 3 different games, which is really cool. We'll get into those at the end. Also kind of look at what else is in here. Interview with some of the creators, developers. Always really fun insight. Story behind Ragnar. So if you want to learn more about that game, you'll learn a little bit more. This was kind of a little fun family tree for Ragnar. Explaining Duel's Black Rose Wars, Duel Lex, like the story behind it, which was really interesting. I love that there's all this. I love when these games make lore to go with everything. It's not just, hey, we came up with a cool guy here and a thing there and a thing there and they did this. Like, there's actually a story behind why they're doing it. Actually, read through this one already, and I was really neat how they came up with this game. And just as a quick idea of what it was, is Black Rose Wars, they wanted to do like a demo to let people, and they've had some of the magazines as well, to let people kind of know the idea how to play a little quick 2-player game. And they liked the concept so much that they tweaked it enough to make it into a full game, instead of just being a quick demo for the actual game. So it's pretty cool. We have Haunted Lands, at the time of the magazine, was one of their new games. There's a picture of it, so you just see some of that. And then we have, Nova Aetas Renaissance expansions. So, like, if you had the base game and all, like, the stretch goal and all that cool stuff, then they had a wave 2, some more expansions. Vivicio, Under Siege, and Catacombs. So what's all in there, and kind of like what makes them different, which I think is a really neat idea. Like, right, hey, here's upcoming expansions. Here's just a breakdown of what they do in case you're interested. There's some more stuff on Lex. Here's how to paint Fabio the Architect, which is a miniature in the thing we got here. And then what he does in here. So, for Nova Aetas, he's going to be a new hero you're going to play as, where he's either the Architect, the Engineer, or the Antiquary. Or in Rebirth, he actually comes back as you fight him as an avatar. And then in Requiem, he becomes a companion. So it's kind of he covers the gamut of every type of role a character can play. Playable character versus character, and a side guy. So it's pretty cool. Then we have for Renaissance, we have a quest to go with him, Destiny, which is FA. So we can go through kind of some of information on how to do some of that, how some of his stuff works. And then for the dual avatar, so So, we'll get into the Gumbos a little more, but this is just letting you be able to play as an avatar in the duels mode. Because now it's supposed to be a 2-player versus game, so here's going to let you have a character in a way so you can actually play the avatars in a one-on-one kind of solo match, using the duel rules, which are a little bit more simplified. So some more information there, how the avatars work. Then just some previews for some of the other games, or ads for some of them, which is really always fun. So that's what we have for the main magazine. The other thing we had in here was we get Nova Aetas Lux et Umbra issue 0. So this is their comic book. I'm not going to get into too much detail on it, but yeah, so it's kind of neat. So if you want a little bit more backstory, again, I said I love the whole story of everything for this. We're going to get some more cool comic book. Now, I know that this is in black and white. I don't know if all of it's in black and white, or if it's just because this is an issue 0 and they just didn't do everything. But yeah, if you love the characters and the lore there, you can get they're going to have a comic book that kind of dives a little bit more into that, which I think is also a really fun little way to explain some of this world and stuff. Alright, so then let's hop into it. So we're going to get this cool box. I love that they started shipping these in boxes like this. This is really neat. So we can pop this open, little magnetic hinge box. We have a spot to store the miniature and the cards which I've already taken out. Little links to each one. But yeah, it's kind of neat. So you can use this to either keep this like this is, or you can pop this stuff out and use this as something else. Different storage. Really cool. Alright. So then, without too much further ado, let's actually look at what we have. So we have our architect, Fabio. Now, like one of the other miniatures, the earlier miniatures in the magazines, you have to actually build these guys a little bit. The newer ones started coming pre-built. I don't know if that was just a case-by-case issue, or if they decided, hey, we can start building these ahead of time, shipping them, or putting in these cool boxes, or what. But it wasn't hard. I had to glue his arm on, I had to glue him to the base. But yeah, there's Fabio, the architect. So this is Nova Aetas Renaissance is kind of where he comes from. So like everyone kind of has this like interesting class. But he's got like a big gun there. He's also an engineer and an antiquary. So he does this with antiques. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. We got his miniature. Alright, then we're going to jump in and look at our first thing is we're going to have... I did not have this prepped well enough. My apologies. Fabio's character card for Nova Aetas Renaissance. So I'll go over as much of this information on this as I know of. And we'll just kind of look at some of his stats and everything. See if I can drop that down a little bit more. Alright, so he has this is his beginning sheet where he's the architect. Then we will also get his sheet here which explains his skills. So he has precision shot, quick reload, barricade, which has a lock picking, focus, which has education, secret passage, which has a diplomacy, and he has climb. So he has 2 different classes. You can switch to the engineer, which has 3 architect skills, and he needs the toolbox, and antiquary, where he gets the 3 architect skills and relics backpack. And he has 5 speed, he has 2 dexterity, he has 2 physical, 3 mental attacks, and then 5 health. If you're going down the back, we just have a blank one. There is what all his different abilities do, so let's kind of take a look at those quick. So precision shot says pay 2 time to upgrade. If this attack is performed with a flintlock, it gains +1 range and you roll 1 additional die. Cool. Quick reload, 3 time discard your reload token from one of your weapons. If you do, gain a shielded token. Oh, interesting. So not only do you get a reload quicker, but you also get a shield to protect yourself. Barricade. It says lockpicking. Says 2 times you may place 1 barricade. See, barricade rolls on the architect. to use up to 3 per mission. Interesting. I was trying to see where it mentioned a barricade. He has focus. He has gained 2 battle focus tokens. Secret passage, diplomacy passive. Exiting location cards do not cost you time, and while you are in a location card, you have +1 reroll each test you perform. I think there's a reroll. I could be wrong. Just see if it said anything about. Yeah, okay, so here it's going to have some mention of these other things. Alright, then he has climb. Passive, you go up and down 1 height level without spending time and without suffering damage. So it's pretty movement. Then he has a passive down here, concentration. +1, each time you perform an attack for his, +1 for his, I can't remember what it's called. It's basically his special ability charge. +1 each time you perform an attack with this sniper skill. You can spend 3 of them. Each time a hero on the battlefield gains a battlefield focus. Okay, so he has different ways to gain focus tokens. So we do have some for those. So we're going to have some barricade tokens, little fences that you can build. And he's also going to have his activation token, and then the blue ones are the focus tokens. He has some extra health ones as well for keeping track of stuff. And we'll look at those other big tokens in a moment here. But barricades. Barricades can be placed on any of the 4 sides of the square occupied by Fabio. Barricades are considered obstacles, do not obstruct the line of sight, but are block movement between 2 squares that share the side of it. The line of sight attack, either physical or psychic, cross the barricade, following applies. Attacks against enemy. A reroll guy that has obtained a success of your choice. An attack against heroes. A reroll guy that has obtained a failure of your choice. The effect of the barricade has no effect. It affects 2 models in contact with it. Moreover, if the barricade counts as an obstacle, being ignored by models with the sniper skill. So basically, what you're going to do is just, you're going to gain bonuses if you're trying to get around it, or if your opponents are trying to get through it. Then you can give out battle focus. A hero who receives this token may choose to use it to exclude one of the dice from any of their attacks or defense tests. The dice so excluded must be placed on the token without changing its result. A hero may add a die placed on the battlefield focus to the result of a test during any attack or defense. If they do, discard the battle focus token. Oh, that's actually really cool. So he can use it up here in his focus ability, or if you get down here, you can give a focus token to everyone on your team. And basically what they can do is if they roll a really good result, but they don't need it, they could save it for later. So, let's say they are trying to shoot a guy or something, right? He's trying to shoot someone, and he rolls 4 dice, and he only needs 2 successes, and he rolls 3. He can take one of those successes, like high numbers, put it off to the side and save it for later. Or even, if you rolled terribly, like, I really needed to get 2 successes to beat this guy, and you rolled 1. Instead of it being wasted, you can pull that guy off. It's going to miss anyhow. So, right, you're not going to do any damage or whatever because you didn't roll anything high enough, right? If it's a psychic attack, right? His physical, I think, still does 1 per guy, but psychic, you have to hit all the skill tests. You could pull that one guy off and be like, nope, instead I'm going to do this. So that's kind of a cool idea. That's really neat. Alright, then he can upgrade into 2 different classes. So we have his double-sided sheet for the Antiquary and the Engineer. So let's take a look at those. So the Engineer, his stats stay the same. 5, 2, 2, 3, 5. But he gains, I think all his base abilities, his green, all stay the same as well. But now he gains all his blue abilities. So he has Sharpening the Blade, Improved Connection, Self-Destruct, Metal Armor, Scrappers for Lockpicking, and Torego Boost. So let's go ahead and look at what all of those do. So he gets +1/+1 over there. It is a passive for Great Designer. +1 each time an automaton inflicts at least 1 damage with an attack. He gets 4 of them. Remove the automatons, if any, from the battlefield. Place a blender automaton in the available square adjacent to you. Interesting. So he's going to get some, be able to place some extra tokens on there. Sharpening the blade. At the beginning of your activation, you may place an advantage token on one of your flintlocks. You can then discard this token for only attacks against enemies adjacent to you. Oh, basically adding a knife to his gun, so he can use it to, like, stab someone. Improve connections. Spend 5 times one of your automatons immediately attacks with 2 attacks. Self-destruct. Pay 2 times. Choose one of your automatons on the battlefield. Perform a test with a physical attack with 5 on each model within 4 spaces of the automaton. Then remove it from the battlefield. The check threshold of this attack is always 5+, both heroes and enemies. Each model that suffers at least 1 damage also receives a burned token. You basically throw a big bomb out there. I mean, you're using your controlled character as a bomb. Metal armor, passive. Each of your blender or scrapper automatons is considered to have its own characteristic increased by 2. Scrappers. Remove your blender automaton from the battlefield to replace the blender token with 2 scrapper tokens. Second token must replace the first. That's kind of neat. So you can, like, take your one and then split it into 2 different ones. Probably a little bit less, probably not as good as stats, I'm going to guess. But it's still kind of neat. So maybe you can, like, go different directions. And then Tornado Boost. Each of your automatons gains runner until the end of this activation. That's neat. So then we also have on the other side, let's take a look at all these first. Let's look at his Antiquary. I'm going to keep saying that word wrong over and over. So his stats stay the same. But he does have the little dots in here. So I don't know exactly what the dots do, but he have a 2 and a 3 there. And on this one, he had it in those 2. So it does make a little bit difference. But his red stats are different. Double shot or skills. Double shot, piercing shot, ancient knowledge, education, relic hunter, treasure hunter, and smoke in the eyes. So then his skills for that are, he gains +1 to those stats like passive each time you use the effect of a relic. For 4, shuffle all relics in the discard pile into the relic deck, draw 2 immediately. During the activation, you can use 2 relics, drawing thanks to a skill, paying their cost uses 1 less time. It basically lets them use them a lot better. So double shot is an upgrade. You perform an attack on a second target other than the first one with your flintlock without spending time. The second attack cannot be upgraded in any way. Piercing shot, passive. Attacks successfully performed using a flintlock deal 1 additional damage. Ancient knowledge, passive. You may use up to 2 relics during your activation. Relic hunter. You may discard 1 regent from the loot to draw 1 relic from your relic deck. Treasure hunter, passive. When you have drawn 2 and you have drawn from the relic deck, you can draw up to 2 cards and choose 1 to equip, place the other at the bottom of the deck, and then smoke in the eyes. Before performing a movement action, choose an enemy on the battlefield. Until the end of the movement action, do not suffer reaction attacks from chosen enemy. That's pretty cool. Alright, so then he has some other special stuff that go with him. So first we want to look at is he's going to have big tokens there for his blender and scrapper automatons. Oh, that's actually neat. So I just want to look. We flip to the other side. So his barricade tokens have grass or they have city tiles. That's pretty fun. Yeah, so let's take a look at... We have automatons, immunities, and weaknesses. Are immune to all statuses burned, except for the burned and shield statuses. Burned automatons of the token suffer 2 wounds after any its activation and then discard shielded. Can be targeted by all skills and effects the hero regains shield. And then we also have relics. Using the effect of the relic's backpack, you can draw cards from the relic deck. After you draw a relic, it must be equipped to an accessory slot of your encumbrance. When you use the effect, but all the slots of encumbrance are already occupied, you have to make a choice. Discard the relic card you just drew or replace it with one that's already equipped. You cannot flip the slot using a relic. cannot free up your slot by using... Okay, you can't use the relic to get rid of it. You have to discard one to replace it. Gotcha. May use the effect of one relic per activation, except where otherwise specified, such as Ancient Knowledge, by paying the cost. The relic card must be used. The relic card used must be discarded, placing it uncovered next to the relic deck to form a discard pile. You cannot use the effect of a relic unless it is equipped. If an effect, such as a replicator's effect, does not specify how to put the relic card back in a corresponding pile, it must be randomly shuffled back into the relics pile. So basically, he gets an extra special deck for himself, which is really neat. Alright, so let's take a look at some of his other cards we have. Maybe a little bit longer video. Let's break this one up into two parts, because I think we still have the all the avatar stuff, so a little bit longer, so we might do this as a two-parter. So we have the Blender Automaton. So it's 5, 2, 3, and 5. He has an attack, cost 3, range of 3, targets any character, it looks like. So attack affects every model in its range. Enemies that are hit with success threshold of 5+, regardless of their defense. Heroes suffer 2 damage from this attack and must perform a test with successful threshold of 6. So basically it's because it's a giant flails on top of this spinning contraption. So it's going to hit everyone in the way. I thought that's a fun little mechanic. Automatons are machines created by the engineer to help in battle. Automatons use their own speed to generate time, but they use fabulous activation token. The hero can choose whether to activate them before or after his activation. Activation of the miniature must be completed before they move into the next one. They have the value same as Fabio's +1. So that's for targeting threats. I forgot what's called. I want to say it's pertinent. It might be. I want to say 1 damage token each time. Each time an effect will inflict damage down. When the number of damage tokens is equal to the automaton's health, the automaton is destroyed. Move from the battlefield. Damage tokens can only be discarded by specific skills or equipment effects. Awesome. And then we had the other one, which is the Scrapper, which just has 4 speed, 1, 3, and 3, and it just hits straight in front of him for less time. It has the same information on the back. We did have this one ability, though, that split the blender into two of these, which is kind of a fun little mechanic, because that has less stats, is more or less what it does. Alright, then we have a bunch of little mini card decks. So we're going to have to go through all of these. So before we do that, I want to look at, we have Destiny cards. So we have these for all, so we have 2 for each. We have 2 for the Architect, which are in blue. I think they're green. We have 2 for his Engineer class, and we have 2 for his Antiquary class. I'm not going to go through and reveal all of these, because this is kind of game spoilers. But we'll look at the first one quick, just so we can see what they do. Because if you're playing it, you're going to get this. Whosoever mercenary has been skilled, use only weapons. The brain can be equally lethal. Objective: use any of the measurement tools 3 times within the mission. During the next rest space, do this. So this just kind of works with this quest. It's going to get different options to do. So that's what his little thing there is. And again, I'm not going to jump into all of those. Then we have some equipment. We have his starting equipment. He has, for Fabio, the Architect. We're going to start with his Flintlock. He has a bunch of abilities we saw that rely on this. 3 time, range 1 to 5. Has reload 2 and pierce. He's going to get some measurement tools, which we just read on that other card we need to use. Your attacks performed with a Flintlock gain Sniper until the end of your activation. Reaction when the attack of a hero within 4 spots gains Sniper. So it's kind of neat. So you can use this to, give all your characters the sniper abilities, kind of taking time to, measure the battlefield. And then he has leather vestments, which have a resistance of 1. Then we have some, I think all 3 of these do say, Just starting equipment for the architect. Yep. Then we have some advanced equipment. 2 for the engineer, and 1 for the antiquary. This is how to end up gaining these with different effects. So we have the toolbox. Pay 2 time, perform a psychic test for each sun or moon the automaton adjacent to you. You discard 1 damage token. So this way to fix up your guy. We'll flip the switch on the back there. When you become an engineer, you gain that. And then he has the blade gun. So reload, pierce, and bleeding. So it does 1 to 5 damage. And that costs some stuff, leatherwood, some different regions, and some money. And then we have the modified projects. For attacking with one of your automatons, roll a test and correspond the effects. So 1 to 2 get a blind, 3 to 4 devastating, 5 to 6 burn, 7 to 8 the automaton takes 1 damage token. So still pretty good chance, 75% chance basically to get cool effect out of it. Just don't know what you're gonna get. And that's gained through the Destiny cards. It's kind of fun. Then the last 3 are advanced equipment specifically for the antiquary. Or this was supposed to be for the engineer, and they just messed up that name on the back. Because it's for the... It would make sense because they're all blue. And then these advanced ones are all reds. I think they just messed up on that. Relic Backpack is a tool. Pay 1, draw 1 relic card from the relic deck. Gain when you become the antiquary. Ritual Light. 1 time an enemy gains spy range gains marked and distracted. Upkeep 2. Keep paying for it to keep your light on. That's how you create that one. And then Replicator. Passive, you can put the discard relic card back into the relic deck once per mission. And get that one through those Destiny cards. Alright, then the last thing we have for this is we have all the relic cards. So you have a little relic deck here. So he gets to use his Alexandra's Visor. 0 time, place an advantage token and a lucky token on your weapon, then discard this card. So these are like 1-time use effects. You gain them and use them when you need them. Caesar's Eagle. Pay 3 time, all heroes immediately perform 2 dashes, then discard this card. Columbus's Compass. Pay for an enemy within 6 gains blinded. Token must be performed a forced movement of 5 squares in a random direction, then discard this card. Dante's Pen. Pay 2. Can immediately use the effect of a skill equipped by another hero within 4 spaces, then discard this card. Elongius's Spear. 4 times put 3 unblockable damage to an enemy in line of sight, then discard this card. Quetzalcoatl's Medallion. 0 time gain runner until the end of this activation, discard it. And the final one is Nefertiti's Beetle. Pay 2. Until the start of your next activation, all heroes and enemies cannot use physical attack or psychic attacks, spells, prayers, and physical attacks against non-adjacent targets, then discard this card. Oh, you can't use physical attacks, spells, prayers, and ranged mental or physical and ranged attacks against non-adjacent targets. So basically everyone has to hit each other straight on, otherwise they don't work. That's crazy. Alright, so that's what we have for... we'll do this as part 1 for Ashes, issue number 8. Come back and check out part 2 to see the stuff for Black Rose War and Requiem. See you guys there. Bye.